Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the second part of two parts for the final year of 2021. Written as in a journal, I will start on July 15th, 2021, up to the day of its completion. A few interesting stories, including seeing my son's dog Sophie 4 times in visions in 2 different locations. My song choice is Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow by Fleetwood Mac. July 15th, 2021. I woke to see a vision of a female looking at me, but didn't recognize her. 2 nights before, I seen from the chest up an older woman slowly moving forward towards me. She looked familiar, like my great aunt Florence on my dad's side. After going back to sleep, I woke to see a vision of a small group of women, not sure of the number, but I would say 5, which are sitting on chairs in a semicircle facing me. I'm not sure of what it meant, but it was important, for it appeared again, which helped me to remember the first time. It was not in a fog of white, so possibly pertains to everyday life activity. Saturday, July 24th. I woke to see a vision on my right side between the bed and patio door. It was a male glancing towards his front, which I could sense that he knew I was looking at him. My view is looking at almost full profile, but slightly towards me. He was down on his knees as if in front of an altar. His hair was dark and his facial hair well groomed. He seemed to be in real time, meaning I understood I'm getting a glimpse of this person who is alive and doing this as I watch, wherever he might be. Sunday, July 25th. The same man in the vision as last night appeared. I woke to see him looking at me. He has dark hair with meticulously groomed facial hair, an impression of possibly a high-profile person. Monday, July 26. I was given flowers in a vision, which I think were wrapped in clear cellophane. I was thinking of my spiritual kids and wondered if Jordan had sent. A few visions in between, but can't make them out. I understand one to be an upright bouquet of flowers. I told my Bible study group what I saw. Julia says she had a dream and it was a suitcase. I had a good chuckle, but so glad she related in the same spirit of happenings. July 31st. I woke to see a vision of 3 active puppies in front of me looking at me. Older puppies that are starting to get out of the play stage, meaning aware of what they are doing, but still puppies, possibly around 4 months old. So pleased to see. They are dark in color and their snouts are somewhat pointier, like a Doberman type dog. I have a feeling the message might have something to do with guarding or protection. I sense the one puppy that is looking at me needs to know who I am. It was not until July 29th that I had completed updating and released the scheduled videos in YouTube. They are the beginning of the new material that I had been writing, starting with video 18 on August the 8th to video 23 to be released September the 12th, 2021. You can see how close I've come to have material ready without interruption to the release schedule. For sure, it puts me in a bit of a panic mode. I have also been given the green light by seeing a vision of a box camera with green lights. Again, I thought, am I being watched? But realized I am again being given the green light. I would have liked to open my videos with a testimonial speech that was written for the churches, where it gives an overview of all that has happened to the beginning of 2020. I decided to leave the speech for the end and allow those that are interested in my journey to learn the same way, I have been taught, to experience it the same way I have. After I have completed what I need to say and upload all the videos, then I will promote the series, possibly using my testimonial speech. I still need to continue with answering many of the questions that I was searching for. Questions like, do we all have a spirit inside of us? Why was I taught about the Spirit first rather than the Holy Spirit? Why I believe there is a message for the churches. I don't want to leave my thoughts lingering, but at the same time, it is my thoughts on what I've been given and the answers that I have found mainly through the scriptures. Sunday, August the 1st, 2021. Happy 62nd birthday to my now spiritual sister, Sandy. Today is the first time in a long time we are inside the church, and it was nice to see an unknown male accompanying us. August the 2nd. I didn't realize that today was a holiday. I'm tired and turning off lights early. By the end of August, I should have 2 or 3 chapters uploaded and ready for release. This will take me to the end of October to complete the last third. The last part will be much slower to write, as I try to answer some of my questions that still puzzle me. Last night on August the 27th, I woke to see the spirit of my son's dog, Sophie. I'm lying on my left side and see her standing on all fours on the bed looking at the dresser. Sophie is a golden doodle, which is half doodle and half golden receiver, almost a year old. I would consider her to be a white-colored with a bit of blonde. My son and his friend Jessica arrived from Halifax a week ago, and I'm doing dog sitting for the week. Sophie loves people and other dogs. She is a very lovable puppy, and I just love who she is. I have another grand dog called Emmy. She is a bit of a loner, but loves her family. I also love who she is. Emmy has adopted a cat in her family, and they get along just fine, even though Hazel can be a bit of a pain with her let's play attitude. The last time I was at the house watching over my grandchildren, I noticed as Emmy was following something that I could not see. I watched with interest as I know something is around. She was looking behind me and following it, not just with her eyes, but moving her head as though she was watching with moving as though what she was watching was moving further away. I watched this for about 3 minutes. Then I called Noah to see if he had noticed this. My grandkids understand about the spirit. Noah has seen, and when he told me about his experience, he was excited to tell. He approached with, "Grandma, I think I'm like you." He woke to see a vision of a cat while on holidays. I went through life as a child scared because of what I was seeing, but did not tell others. I wanted both my grandchildren to know spirits exist. Although Lexi has not seen, I have seen her in the spirit, just like I have seen Sophie the dog in the spirit. I have seen Lexi not once but twice, which I had mentioned. When I had asked Noah if he had noticed this before about Emmy, he agreed with a yes. He believes it is their previous dog, which was a chocolate lab named Abby, that passed away just before they welcomed Emmy. I would say it is something familiar, as Emmy does not bark, only following what she is seeing. I didn't know how Noah would have reacted seeing the vision of a cat if he could not have reached out to me or someone and be comforted and acknowledged it is possible. It is a very scary experience for someone to go through at any age, let alone a child. Who can you turn to? I have heard other stories, and those people are the ones that know for sure that the spirit exists. There is no doubt in my mind. I would consider that there are many people who have gone through at least one of those encounters in their life. I believe they are part of the spiritual movement of people. They are open to the fact that the spirit exists, but you will not find them going to a church and bringing it forward. At least this is my outlook from seeing within the church and having conversations with people who shun the topic of conversation. Yes, there are spirits, but not all are considered good spirits. And how do you tell the good ones from the not so good ones? I can't answer this, for through all my experiences, I have always felt protected, and that is because I know from my experiences that they come from God, with no doubt in my mind. The Bible says to test the spirits to see if they come from or associated with God. Just like there is much evil in this world, there is also evil spiritually. My comfort is that because I'm part of God's family, I can sense this protection. This was not the first time I experienced animals in the spirit. Just a couple of years ago, I woke to see what I thought was a bear crouched on my bed. I realized after that it looked very much like Abby. At the same time, a neighbor up the road lost his dog. This dog almost wanted to acknowledge me on his walks past the house. Always wanted to acknowledge me on his walks past the house. He looked exactly like Abby. So I associated this dog spirit with the one who had just passed away, but it could have been Abby. I have no way of knowing for sure. I think it is a wonderful gift to know that our pets also have been gifted life everlasting, as they also can become spirits. Then again, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced about humans that every one of them has a spirit. Into the next. At this part of learning, my outlook is different in that I now include God and I do feel that I was prepared since a child, but of course unaware. It is God who glorifies us for Him. In other words, I have been given this so that I can bring forward to others what has been given. It is not for me alone, it is for everyone to hear. I have been favored, so I suspect that I have been prepared or prepped since birth for this role in my life. I can look back and see many ways that I was being prepared. I know I was seeing spirits as a child, but was able to suppress it and was at a point where I felt it was saying, "You have to know this," in 2010. I was scared when this started to happen, but there was also a calmness which helped me relate to the situation and wanting to learn more. In those child years, I was also subjected to the death of my sister, how it affected my thoughts and heart. My mother grew up in an area where survival was important. When I skinned my knee, it was said, "So what? You'll live." When I looked for an answer, it was, "You figure it out." That was her way of parenting. After the death of my sister, it was not discussed in our family. I had to deal with it myself. I see these and so many more attributes that molded who I am just the way God intended. I recently discovered a verse in the Bible that really stood out for me. It was Jesus that had spoken to Paul. Paul, who was a perfectionist in his own way, commented on what Jesus had said to him. It was written and read, so Paul quoted the words he was told. Not only that, but in the complete epistle, there is only one statement that was quoted from Jesus that Paul used. It is in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. It says, "My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weaknesses." I also notice that those that speak in their given strengths are more apt to be arrogant when compared to those that are challenged in weaknesses, which tend to be more humble. Very seldom do we take the path in life that is not with our given strengths. We tend to keep building up on our strengths and avoid weakness. For me, God has used my weaknesses, so many weaknesses that it shames me, but with the encouragement and knowing that a comforter had been provided, it has given me the internal strength to overcome and overlook my weaknesses and do what I needed to do, and that is to bring my given story forward to everyone. When I tell my story of seeing spirits, people's ears do perk up. I think it is because of the unknown, and there is curiosity to want to know more about the spiritual realm. This I want to write about because it is unusual, and it confirms for me that animals also have spirits. I have brought this forward in the past many times. This occasion also validates that the spirit can visit outside its body, or another way of putting it, the spirit can be separated from its physical body. Now that I'm bringing this up again further on, I have a question. What if it was not a dream when you thought you danced with your deceased father? I'm using this as an example of a question that we just don't know the extent of what is unknown. Before my son and his friend Jessica were traveling back on September 3rd to Nova Scotia and where they are both living, I had the first spiritual encounter with Sophie, my so-called grand dog, on August the 27th. She has the cutest face with her long snout, black button nose, 2 dark eyes, and groomed thick hair that falls over her snout, which reminds me of Scottish for some reason. It was before the three of us and Sophie left to drive back to Nova Scotia. I woke to see a vision of Sophie standing on my bed looking at the dresser. She was physically in my home at this time, but not in my room, and now here she is in the spirit on my bed. She was very close, and as I woke to see her, I was startled because of her closeness, but relaxed right away because I recognized her right away. I said softly to her, emphasizing her name, "Sophie, what are you doing on my bed?" The second time she appeared was in my bedroom at my son's home in Waverley. It was before flying back home. My bedroom door was closed, and my bed was a mattress and box spring resting on the floor. I woke to see her staring at me, her front paws resting on the bed. This time I said in a soft voice, "Sophie, you scared me." There was no mistaking it was Sophie. I had also noticed a few times that she was focused on watching something moving around, but I could not see a thing. I had told Jess of both encounters, and Jess also stated that she has seen her looking at something moving around in the air. I flew back home on the 13th of September. The next night, while I was at my home and Sophie was in her home at Waverley, she came to visit me. When I woke and seen her, I said, "Sophie, you came to visit." She was on all fours on my bed and looking directly at me, about 2.5 feet away. Then I said, "Come lie with me." Not sure if she did, because she dissipated after I saw her and called her name. But I thought and laughed as I invited her, thinking, my bed won't get dirty. When I played soccer last night on September the 14th, a friend on the other team who was defending my forward position said I had been meaning to get in touch with you. I have seen a few of your videos and I have also seen spirits. She said, I think we should gather with those people who have seen spirits, for I know of others, which I said, sure, and then I also know of others who have seen. She said, no one speaks up because others might think we are crazy. I said, yes, and some in my church do not like the topic of spirits. Her response was, that is so stupid because that is what it is all about. My response, exactly, you really do get it. I want to help others in any way I can. If this is another outlet for others, then let's get together and discuss what is happening. Went too far. On Sunday, October 3rd, I realized that the last 3 nights since September 30th, I have been seeing much spiritual activity. I had 4 occurrences on Thursday, then 3, then 2 that I recall. It has been quiet for a long time, and I have not only noticed this recently, but since I started writing for the second book back in May. My head has been down every chance I have in order to keep the videos flowing without interruption. It is very stressful when I know I only have a few weeks left before I run out of videos. I also recognize that the majority of activity that I have is during the fall, mostly October and November. October 21st, I was given a dream which I know is not a usual one. It starts out with a minister asking us to look into the Bible today and tell what it has to say. I thought to myself, I'm already reading from both the Old and the New Testament on a daily basis, so maybe it might be good to do what others do and close my eyes and point to a place in the Bible. I did this and it showed me the word Isaiah with other words around it and what looked like the same border from the Bible I'm reading from. This was definitely relating scriptures to Isaiah. So I'm not sure what Isaiah, one of the prophets, is about. So I go to my trusted phone to Google and find out what Isaiah's purpose was. This is what I found. Isaiah became agonizingly aware of God's need for a messenger to the people of Israel, and despite his own sense of inadequacy, he offered himself for God's service as he said, "Here I am. Here am I. Send me." He was thus commissioned to give voice to the divine word. I'm reading more on how he received his vision and that he was prepared and that he was prepared in life. Above all, perhaps, a new and overwhelming sense of the majestic holiness of God all merged, coalesced, and he knew that his God was sending him with words for his people, and that, reluctant or not, he was compelled to do. From the start or retrospectively, he was aware of a frantic need impossible to satisfy to call his people back from the brink of peril. His vision was his moment of insight and resolve when, with complete clarity and instantaneously, he knew that he must do and say. Prophet says of his people that they have refused to hear him. It was as though he, a messenger, had been ordered irrationally to close their minds, plug their ears, veil their eyes. As he says in chapter 6 of his errand to those to whom he was sent. Isaiah knew no one would listen, but he continued with what was God's voice to tell others. To you who read this and are against bringing this forward, God is behind all that has happened and with me through to its completion. When you fight against me, take heed of of whose side you are on. I'm not in this for my own glory, but for the glory of God. He always wants the best outcome, but if it doesn't go that way, I'm prepared. You can see from the beginning I sensed that I would not be heard, but that will not stop me from trying to reach others. Also, a couple of nights before this dream, I dreamt of looking out the back window of an unknown house and watched wolves lingering in the tree line, coming in and out, but at the tree line. I was also watching the front door to see if they were to come to it. That didn't happen, but I know they are secretly around. I do believe that this is a warning as I'm getting very close to completing my testimonial of Jesus and the message it brings. As Isaiah knew, so do I, and have stated it many times throughout. Who will listen? Perhaps more than this, I'm being pre-warned that those that are totally against this are waiting for the right time to pounce on what I'm bringing forward. Maybe they already have without knowing the full story. In this same period of time, I woke to see a vision of Sophie over me, on all fours, looking forward, not at me. This is now the fourth time I've seen her spirit. It was as if she was protecting me. Bless her soul. This is no doubt I'm being prepared and protected. October the 25th. I'm rereading this chapter and will divide it into 2 chapters because of its length. This second part I will leave open as long as I can to add anything further that happens while I start to write the end. October 28th. I'm just beaming with delight. A few videos back, number 27, this is so cool. I was talking about my Uncle Bud and his peanut butter fudge. I also mentioned the second best was Mrs. Solitude's peanut butter fudge, which I have known since a youngster at Halloween. Today I received a knock on the door, and it was Mrs. Solitude's son who now has the passed down recipe and carries on the tradition with a full Halloween bag of peanut butter fudge. I could not believe what was happening. What a treat. This is what my community is all about and why I love being part of it. People are generous, thoughtful, and caring. It was certainly an act of kindness, and I really appreciated it. Just so you know how much I appreciated it, when my son was younger and I brought him to town for Halloween, the first place we went was to Mrs. Solitude's house, and I told him that the little bag of fudge he got was for me. He remembers this. Oh, I have to laugh at that. Mrs. Solitude's son needs to bottle this and sell it. It is that good. This also alerted me to knowing that people are watching the videos. Yay! October the 29th. I'm reading in the New Testament, chapter 15 in Romans, and Paul is mentioning about Isaiah. I'm thinking that maybe I was given the dream about Isaiah to prepare me for what Paul is referring to about him. It is timing just right that I am giving the vision pertaining to Isaiah just before I'm entering the part which speaks of Isaiah. It certainly perked up my attention. This is for sure something I will have to go back into to see if I can connect the importance of Isaiah to what Paul is saying relating to what God is suggesting is of importance. For now, I will keep working through. November the 6th. I'm at the stage where the last scheduled video will be released tomorrow. I have prepared for and ready to upload onto YouTube YouTube, and that are to do with the spirits, and part 1 of 2 for the final year 2021, which I'm having a hard time finding the time to make the video. These 4 will be scheduled starting November the 14th and take me out 4 weeks. During this time, I will still need to complete the ending of the year 2021 and a chapter to end the whole story, as well as my testimonial speech being presented. Then I can say, it is done. Yesterday I was looking for time to start the 4th video, but as I'm preparing to read and ensure it's what I want to bring forward, I pushed it aside as I was exhausted and in all that was needed of me this past week, and just could not put myself into working it. I ate supper late and turned on the TV. Last night, almost just as I'm going into a sleep, I abruptly alerted to a vision. It was a long, rolled-out carpet. It was like I was seeing the rolled-up part closest to me, and the other end just continued into a haze. There was no other end. I thought, that's a weird symbol, and considered to think about it tomorrow. I rolled over and no sooner fell back into sleep as it was like I had just closed my eyes and woke to see a camera facing me. This was not a video camera, it was a picture camera, and there was no green lights, just a vision of a camera. Now I had 2 visions that are associated with each other to figure out in the morning. In the morning, I Googled on my phone, spiritual meaning of a carpet rolled up and spiritual meaning of a camera. As mentioned before, I need to find the meaning, and it's not like I can ask Google vision interpretation of. I have to rely on what other spiritual people have learned about symbols and dream interpretations. Unlike a dream, I'm given a specific item or items in visions, but still have to relate them to what is happening in my day, so I can relate what I find is the symbolic meaning to what is being conveyed to me. It has to speak to me. This is what I found of the rolled up carpet. Rolled up carpet is a signal for continuity, longevity, good health, and immortality. You are all over the place in your emotions and thinking. Surprise. You need to be careful in what you write, as words can be a powerful tool. Your dream is a premonition for true love. Someone is very touched with his or her sensitivity and emotions. Dream about rolled up carpet is a signal for your leadership, your courage, your passion, and your enthusiasm. You are filled with inspirational power and enlightenment. Something in your past will prove to be extremely important to your future. The dream suggests an emotional attraction towards a person. You have friends and family who will help you to achieve to highest goals. And another one, dream about rolled up carpet hints some spiritual significance for you and thus represents the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. You are experiencing an uplift in your spirituality. You need to take advantage and draw insight from your consciousness. Your dream is an omen for strength, protection, and stability. You are experiencing much inner turmoil. Rolled up carpet stands for your striking performance and stellar ability. All ears are on you. You are pursuing a new or different path. The dream is about sudden awareness, insight, spiritual revelation, truth, and purification. You are able to cope with life's changes with grace and understanding. Seeing that the rolled up carpet is associated with the second vision of the camera, I need to investigate the camera symbolism. Dreaming of a camera means you are being given a picture of things to come and being asked to remember what you are being shown. On a related point, make sure you record these camera dreams in a journal to refer to later, okay? It's funny to see that was written right in there, okay? Okay. This also surfaced for a camera, which consists of 3 items: a crown, crops, and a camera. Weird combination, but out of the 3, I have seen the last 2 referring to the field of wheat and camera. A crown is a symbol of life in Christ. It speaks of the ability to reign over situations with holy power. Crops talk about harvest. That which you have worked for is about to come to pass. And cameras are symbolic of God giving you a glimpse of what is to come and the need to store it to memory. My thoughts. Wow. That is interesting that those 3 symbols are put in a sequence and are so different but relay a continuous flow of God's work. The crown needs to be earned, but that which is given to me is of grace. To be given grace is special when achieved by God, and that is all we can ever expect. Now I see the spiritual meaning that is being presented. Roll up carpet stands for your striking performance and stellar ability. All ears are on you. You are pursuing a new or different path. The dream is about sudden awareness, insight, spiritual revelation, truth, and purification. I suspect that the other end of the carpet, which has no end, is referring to infinity and is speaking of more to come, with the camera validating this. The camera could be showing that I will be given a glimpse of what is to come and to document what I will be shown. This is just incredible, as I have already been given so much, and there could be more and important enough to document. I guess I will now be on full alert. Is this a message that when I again draw this proverbial line, that it will not be over? I guess I'll have to start thinking about how I will deal with presenting the next chapter of my spiritual life. When I think back, it was not till I had completed the book in 2016 that Jesus started to make himself known to me in every way possible. I do sense it is not over, because there are those that I have seen in visions that have seen me. One I know of, and that is and what is the connection? I can only speculate. What more can I do for my Lord Jesus Christ? What could possibly be next to come? I've shown the glory, the power, and the love that comes from God. November 21st, 2021. I have been focusing on getting my home and garden ready for winter, working on my business and preparing for Christmas, knowing I will not be here but in Nova Scotia. I want to help my son and Jessica celebrate their first Christmas with a new home and life. The time is going by very quickly. There have been activity of night visions, but only one that stands out, and that was seeing a vision of a male that was looking directly at me and moving towards me. The size of this vision was notably larger than other visions, but I was only seeing from below his neck up, and with no color, just black and white. It was a week ago. I'm now preparing to put all on video. I'm taking my time so that I can roll into the last month of the year 2021. I'm so ready to complete the last 5 years, and have put so much effort in writing the part 2 of this next book since this past May. It's like I've missed a whole year. November 22nd, 2021. I would like to think this is my last entry of my journal for 2021. I said this yesterday, but I put last night's vision into the journal. I have seen a vision of a male person, aware that he was bringing his head slightly under a tent canopy. When I woke to see him, I said, "Oh," and he looked up and took notice of me. I'm not looking at someone in a business suit, but someone dressed for a desert placement, and he had on light-colored clothing. When I recall the whole situation, it's as if he is entering a tent, but I don't know what he sees. At the same time, he notices me, so he is seeing a vision of me. So is he seeing a vision of me lying in my bed looking at him? I don't know. The whole reason I bring these visions forward is so another might understand what is happening and help me figure it out. Also, maybe the person who is in the vision might connect. I'm not just showing this to say, "Oh, another vision," as it has always been for me to document the occurrences so that I can reflect back as well as have some idea of points in time, as well as hoping to reach the receiver. I truly believe this is not going away, and there is more to come, just like the visions of the camera and rolled up carpet suggest. Thank you, everyone. That ends the year of 2021. I've got 2 more videos to go. Oh, I'm so excited because I'm getting so close to the end. Thanks.